Okay, so that's the heart of palm. And now you can show a few seconds of that, how they cut it and how it looks on the tree. So like that, now you can go to the back to what you had before. I don't want to use the word video, chas v'shalom, but that thing that moves. See, that's a kaira, believe it or not.
So this is the tree itself, right?
Yeah, now go back to the tree. Go back to the tree. This is what I slice it.
Yeah. How did the tree come to that? This is a regular palm tree.
There's different kinds of palm trees.
3,000 species of palm trees.
No, it's not like a bamboo. Okay, so now you see what Sefer Lahakshas means. It turns the mamash into a piece of wood, right?
And it is this piece of wood. I thought the wood looks much thicker than what's on here.
No, it's this.
This looks like a huge log, and what's
Looks like a
coming out
log.
are just little pieces.
Oh, there you go. They're slicing it. Huh?
But that's this way. But what we have in the cans is
You look, see, he trims it, they trim it down.
trim it down. It looks like
They can make it any width they want.
the only thing in the center. Doesn't seem like that, right?
It's
But
called
they
the
can-
heart. That's where it's the center, it's the heart.
That's why it's called a heart.
I thought it's just on top of the tree. It's the whole entire tree. That's
Go back to the tree, Eliezer. Go back to the tree.
it's
Just
the
get
whole
the,
entire tree. That
freeze
they
it
make
at the
out top.
beginning, so we can see the tree. There you go. No, freeze the tree all the way at the beginning. That's it. So you can see it's hanging.
It's
It's like
regular?
bananas.
Are there lulav on top of these trees?
No, that's what we were clearing.
Right.
Some people say it's coconuts, but they don't have it right away. Apparently, the way we understand it is the first at the beginning, the heart, the palm tree just grows by itself. And then later, I don't know, the next year, coconuts grow, or what was the other one? Well, the love them grow, right?
Dates.
Dates. That's why it's called a date palm.
Yeah. Tell me.
Okay, Adkan. pictures.
Okay, so let's learn a little bit the sugya here, and let's see what we could come out lamaisa for us. I mean, when we were children, I don't think that anyone ever ate such a thing as hot palm. They didn't sell in the stores, no? You remember? Just never said?
Never heard of it.
Never. Now it became the new style. Girls go to camp, they want hot palm with them. It's much like a new thing, and people put in salads. But besides today, let's say we don't have to deal so much with the bracha, but people are eating this thing.
You could eat it out of the can.
So he's saying over here that Chinese vegetables, that's one of the ingredients of Chinese vegetables. It could be, but what I'm saying is that today it became a normal, by many, they eat it in my house. I see my children, they eat it for snack. No problem. You buy the cans, Geffen, whoever makes it, and they're eating it. So we really have to come out with the sugya to the bottom of it. And surprisingly, there'll be a psaka, maybe you heard, maybe Shlomo said it already, by leading poskim in America that totally not with the sugya, and we have to understand where they're coming from. That's really what we're gonna try to have some clarity. Kaira, Lamed Vav Amud Aleph says, "Kaira is hearts of palm. That is what it is."
The Gemara,
Rashi
please.
says-
The Gemara, bless you.
Kaira, Rashi says, "Rach shel dekel." It's the soft part of the dekel tree, a palm tree. Kisha'anofav gedalim b'chol shana v'shana. The branches are grown every year. Kederach kol ilanis. Hanoisef b'shana zu rach. U'b'shana shniya miskasha v'nasa eitz. That's why the pictures I didn't really understand that much, because the way Rashi is explaining to us, I understand it that the tree grows, it gets hard. The first year on top, it's soft. Then it gets hard again. So therefore, you have a tall tree, palm tree, and the top of the tree, the addition of that year is soft. It takes a few months for it to get hard, and once it gets hard, it becomes like a regular tree. And the tree grows and grows and grows on top of that. That's the way I understand the palm tree. I don't see the pictures. It seems like they use the whole tree for this hearts of palm, right? Did I see correctly?
I think so.
So it seemed like, but so it doesn't, to me, it doesn't. In Rashi, it's mashma that's okay. Fine. Akapanim, hearts of palm is kaira. Now, so now we have machlekes. If Yudah says by Adama, Shmuel says shakal nevedvar. Now let's understand why is that? Zok the Gemara, Yudah by Adama, it's Paris. So all Paris on the Adama, you make a Bayer Adama. Why is that fruit of the ground? It's fruit of the ground. It's coming out of the ground. That means even though it's higher up, but it's coming out of the ground. Pashut, right? Cucumbers also come out of something that's on the ground. Tomatoes come out of something, but that's still part of the ground. Okay, we'll speak about that in a few minutes. Shmuel says you make the bracha shahakal. Why? Why shahakal? Where's shahakal coming? Since it's going to get hard. Okay, so what? Okay, it's going to get hard. If you leave an apple on a tree, you know what's going to happen to it? What's going to happen to it? It's not going to get hard. It's going to get soft and get rotten. What bracha do you make on a rotten apple? Nothing. Maybe shahakal. I don't know. Not a dama. I'm talking about a real rotten apple. I don't mean not hates, right? So everything's going to.
Everything gets hard.
Everything gets hard, soft. Something's going to happen to everything. Nothing can last forever on a tree. Why is the Gemara? What type of svara is this? You're making a shahakal because it's going to end up getting hard. Okay, I'm cutting it up before it got hard. Good question.
Excellent.
Okay, what could be the answer to this question?
Emerging tree.
It's a merging tree.
It's the process of becoming a tree.
So Rabbi Black is trying to answer that this is different. It doesn't mean sofer lahakshais that it's just going to get hard. What does it mean? It means that it's going to end up as the tree itself. An apple, let's say apple actually gets soft, but let's say I have another fruit that gets hard. The longer it stays on the tree, it gets hard. That's not going to turn into a tree. That's going to turn into a rotten apple. A watermelon, whatever it is, it's going to turn rotten. Here, it's going to turn into the tree itself. So therefore, even though now it's not a tree, but since it's going to turn into a tree, so Mela now already loses a chain bracha. Interesting. I'm saying it, but it's a pretty interesting memory because, like we're saying, why should I be down what's going to happen in 2 months from now? Right now, it's edible. I'm cutting it off when it's edible. What's the problem? But this was Shmuel's svara. Now, interesting enough that it's not like you don't make a bracha. If you eat plain wood, what bracha do you make? No
Nothing.
Bracha. No bracha. So if you're telling me that I'm done what's going to be later I'm not making a bracha at all. But still, he said that you make a shahakal because it's really la'achida now. So therefore you make a shahakal. Now, fact the Gemara, Zok the Gemara, Amalei Shmuel of Yehuda, Shin Kivasach Mitztabah. Mitztabah like you. Why? That's 9. Sofer la'akshos mavachina l'bayah pe'adama. 9 ends up getting hard, and you make a bayah pe'adama. So I see, even though something ends up becoming hard, you still make a bracha, as of right now. No, it's not a raya. It's 9 not the inchi adaita the pugla, dikla not the inchi adaita the kaira. A decal tree is not planted for hearts of palm because what's my raya? If we plant hearts of palm, you'll never have a tree. You're going to keep on knocking it down. You're not going to have a tree. So obviously the guy's planting it for other things. So therefore, if you're eating something that it wasn't planted for, you're not going to be chayiv. I'm sorry, you'll make a shahakal. And then the Gemara goes as a kasha. The Maisa, the Gemara ends off that Afagav the Kalsa Shmuel of Yehuda, Shmuel praise of Yehuda, Hilchas Kavase the Shmuel, that you make a shahakal on hearts of palm. So we have a Gemara, we have Machlokes. Do you make on hearts of palm a hadama or shahakal? Interesting enough, you don't find this so many times in a Gemara that one man the Amma that argued said, you know what, I really like this svara better than my svara. Right? What happened over here? Shmuel said shahakal, Yehuda said by hadama. So Shmuel told Yehuda, by the way, I like this svara a lot. So really, you should be making a by hadama. So here's one man the Amma agrees to the other man the Amma. You ever have that in a Machlokes? Like, oh, I really like this svara, but the halacha is like Shmuel, even though Shmuel liked the Yehuda svara, the halacha ends up like Shmuel, then we make a shahakal. That's what happens when you give in, you end up winning. Right? He gave in to him, and the Ma'aseh Gemara says you make a shahakal. Okay. Now let's first understand the svaras, and then we'll try to work aliba de hilchasa somewhat. We have a svara here, that since it's sefer lahakshais, Shmuel, Rav Yehuda says it's bayah pe'adama, Shmuel says it's shahakal, Rav Yehuda says bayah pe'adama, it's a peri, it's a fruit. And Shmuel says no, hayav sefer lahakshais, which means, Pashas you would say, that Shmuel says it's not called a fruit. This does not have a shame fruit. Since it's going to get hard, I don't look at this as a fruit. Finished. The machlokes is this called a fruit or not? You go into the store. Do you call this a piece of wood or do you call this a piece of fruit? Is it put in the wood aisle or it's put in the fruit aisle? If it's put in the fruit aisle, it's a fruit. You make a adama. If it's put in the wood aisle, you make a shaka. But no problem. Now, the Ritva is not mashma like this. Also, they're learning that everyone agrees that this is not a fruit. But they hold that since something that's grown from the floor that could be eaten, that itself has a chashivas that you can make a bayah pe adam. Which means, to call this a fruit, that's not a fruit. It's not a fruit. It's not coming off a tree, it's not a fruit. We'll see later. Oh, you have it very light. Good. Umetchila kairu, Reish Hadaka Umetchila Rach, Rav Yehuda Svi'alei. No, you just passed it.
No, you had it. No. You had it perfectly. Where the yellow is.
Yeah, but he's on Lamed Ches now. Okay. Oh, right there. Yeah. Rav Yehuda Svi'alei. The kivan. Okay, I'll read it without it. The kivan. Rav Yehuda Svi'alei. The kivan shera'u le'meichel mevarich olav bayah pe adama. Since it's right for a food, therefore you make a bayah pe adama. Since it's right for a food, not that this has a shame pre. What does that mean? That means that in order to be called, to make a bayah pe adama, do I need something which has chashivas to it, it's called as a pre, or anything that's eaten from the ground is considered already bayah pe adama? Question. You ever ate grass? Okay, not grass. Did you ever eat falfa sprouts? That looks like regular grass, right? You ever ate lettuce? Kamat grass, right? You're going to call that a pre? You call that a fruit? In what language is that called a fruit?
Fruit of the ground.
A fruit of the ground, grass?
Fruit means.
So the question is, what's called a fruit? Does it
Right.
need it like a chashivas, or just anything that comes out of the ground that's edible is fruit?
Who says it's not chashivas? So lettuce is very expensive.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Well, today everything's expensive, but yeah, that became a style now. But akapanim, so therefore, when we're saying something called fruit, do we need a fruit miyuchad or anything coming out of the ground?
I think
So-
fruit needs to have seeds.
I'm sorry?
Fruit needs to have seeds.
Fruit needs to have seeds, true. So how do they call fruit chasa or vegetable or anything? Some vegetables have that, but you have falfa sprouts. Why do you make adama? You should make a shakal. It's not a fruit. You're saying baye pri adama. Which pri? Right? And the answer is because Rabbi Yehuda is telling us you don't need a pri. Once it's royal and Michael that's coming out of the ground, you can already consider baye pri adama. And exactly not like this tzaddik was just saying that I need seeds. Rabbi Yehuda is coming to tell you the fact that it's edible off the ground, you're making a bayer pe adama. Shmuel says, no, I need it to have a shame pre. And that doesn't have a shame pre. Since it's going to get hard, it doesn't have a shame pre. So that's the Yisayidus thing machlokes between Sefer Lahakshais or not. Now, what do we have in the Maskanas HaGemara? The Maskanas HaGemara said that trees have seeds. Okay, trees have seeds. That could be, yeah. But I'm talking about a falfa sprout doesn't have seeds. Oh, in the bottom has seeds, right? But he probably meant when he said seeds, he probably meant the fact that there are seeds in the fruit itself. That's what I thought he meant.
Yeah.
Okay. So getting back to this. So the Gemara comes along and tells us that the Gemara said two svars why you should make a shakel. One was Sefer Lahakshos, and the other one was Leinati Inchi Adaita Da'achi. The one svar was that it's not planted for that purpose, and the other svar was that it's Sefer Lahakshos, it's going to get hard. Now, question: which svar do we stay with? So it's a machlekes in the Yishayim, and the Shai is learning how to slap. It's a machlekes in the Yishayim if we're staying with the svar of Sefer Lahakshos or Leinati Inchi Adaita Da'achi. And we'll see later on that it can make many enough communis lalach. So now, this is the real question which we have to deal with.
Either,
What?
either or.
Either or, right? Either or. Now, why don't I make a bayre pri or eitz on this kaira? It's coming out of a tree. Everything that comes out of a tree makes a bayre pri. It's no mandama. We have machlekes bayre pri adama or she'akel. Why not a eitz?
Out of the tree.
What do you mean? The tree grows still here, and then afterwards is this thing. Oh, become a tree next year. Right now, it's a regular tree that has fruit coming out of it. It might look like the tree, but it's fruit. It's edible. No, the first year you have a regular bean, right? Right, and then it grows. On top of it is something which is edible. So therefore, you should make it by a piyetz. Good question, or you don't like the question? You don't like it. Huge problems. Okay. I'm in the middle here seeing Nachum's. All right, but 1 second again. You were asking. We have to understand very clear why you don't make a bayre pri. It's coming out of the tree. We know coming out of the ground's adama. This thing kulam amayda has a shame tree to it. Why am I not making a bayre pri? Zok machlekes in the Rishonim. The Ramban explains, and he says that Tamaris Eina Mugdarim Dava Nifrad Hagadol Ala Eitz Elohim Chelek Min Eitz. Like you're trying to say somewhat. The Eitz Hanechalu Umemel L'Shayach Bichas Bayir Pri Eitz Kepirushe Bayir Pri Hagadol Ala Eitz Ela Pri Adama. She's talking about Tamaris, but let's discuss that over here also. This thing is not off the tree. It's something which is the tree itself. You're now eating the tree itself. Granted, it's edible, but what you're doing is eating the tree itself. It's a mele zakte amban. That's why there's no tzat to make a bayre pri, because this thing's the tree itself. That's a very mistaken svara, like you just said. There's a ra'ah that says a different svara here. The ra'ah, it's not. You have to see it inside, because the Welt doesn't learn it as a different svara, but it really is a different svara, because if you look clearly in the ra'ah, it's a different svara. It's going to make enough community to us to modern day to halacha. The ra'ah says, "Betam de kairei bayir pri adama mishum de chol heicha the iu gufei lav peira lo shayich levruche alev lemekraya pri eitz ela pri adama the chazi lemeichel v'gdulei kaka midi HaRav v'achim mifashinam b'gemar time the Bunim mishum de ochlo." Let's understand what this is saying. Pashtus, you would say that the Ra'ah means to say, Mamash like the Ramban, the EU goof lav payre, it's not a payre. But if you look weiter in the Ra'ah is not much like that at all. And I see we don't have the Ra'ah to look at it inside, so I'm going to be saying it outside. But the Ra'ah means like this. The Ra'ah is coming to say is that this doesn't have a tzuras apri. It doesn't have a taya apri. Paris, in order for you to make a bayre pri eitz, has to look like a pri. This does not look like a pri. Now he says many times, the kaira lav priu. The Emma says, you see this in the Mishnah. The Mishnah by us says, Paris aretz, bayre pri adama. Yirakais, bayre pri adama. Abudam bayre min nishad. What's the difference between Paris and Yirakis? They both make a bayre pri adama. What's the difference between Paris and Yirakis? Again, the Mishnah in the beginning of the parak. How Mishnah says, Paris Haaretz, you make a bayre pri adama. Yirakos, who I'm a bayre pri adama. What's the difference? Paris and Yirakos. You have any pshat? Posh pshat? Paris Haaretz, you make a bayre pri adama. Vegetables.
Like a tomato.
Yirakos is bayre. Huh?
Tomatoes are pre-haaretz. It's got seeds. It's a pre, but it make adama.
Yeah, and what's called Yirakos?
Like a carrot, there's no seeds.
Seeds? Cucumber doesn't come straight from the ground. Cucumber has a vine, something.
Yeah, technically.
Tomatoes has a vine.
Technically, cucumber is a fruit. Biologically, if it has seeds, it's a fruit. If it doesn't have seeds, it's a vegetable. Like lettuce is a vegetable, carrots are the vegetable, radish is a vegetable. Tomato is a fruit.
Okay, where did you get this chiluk?
That's it.
I'm
That's
saying
the biological definition.
That's your which?
I think biological.
Oh, biological. Okay, I hear. I'll read you what the Samir Shanim say. Okay, Rabbi Black, you want to say something?
So I was taught or shared earlier that a tree has wooden branches,
Okay.
and the wooden branch, the branch that lasts from year to year, and whatever grows out from that is a tree, you make a tree creates. If that branch at the end of the season, or that thing that the tree comes out of dies.
Okay.
What comes out next, then it's an Adama.
Okay, so Rabbi Black is saying it's svara, but that's not a svara. For now, that's going to be a svara in Daf Mem. When we want to make a chiluk between strawberries and other things, and bananas, why you don't make a bar pH, you should make a bar pH. But he's tining. Rabbi Herschel is tining over here that carrots have seeds. So let me tell you what the Rishonim said. The Rishonim, again, we're asking a simple question. I'm surprised that we didn't speak about this before. Is when the Mishnah makes a difference between Birchas Bayrei Priya Adama from Peiros Haaretz, the HaRav, they're both Bayrei Adama. What are the two definitions? So the
Eitz and Adama. in general?
no between Peiros Haaretz and HaRav. Zakter ben Yaina, Hakitnius Nikrais Peiros Haaretz, V'kruv V'tardim V'chasa U'kiyaytzabay Nikra and HaRav. What does that mean? I think to say that the difference is if it's grown off the ground, that's HaRav. If it has a stem to it and it's grown off something, that's called Peiros Haaretz. That is what he's saying. In the ground is considered lamashal. Give me a mashal. Potatoes. Potatoes are coming out of the ground. That's Adama. That's HaRav. That's called HaRav. Peiros Haaretz, I'll consider anything that's growing on a tree. Maybe that's where you got seeds and all that. Tomatoes happen to be growing off a branch. Cucumbers that will be going off a branch. Lettuce are just coming straight out of the ground. Potatoes are coming straight out of the ground. Potatoes have a different shali. You know that the that potatoes you make a shahakel. Not like mushrooms, they felt. Good, that's not a shali for now. But Akapanim.
Like snow.
Yeah, snowing's growing right off the ground. I think so. Is that? Onions grow out of the ground. Snowing grow out of the ground? There's no little branch? There's no tree?
No. Beets.
Oh yeah? Okay, fine. Sakapanim. So getting back to here. So we see like this. Again, we see that there's something called a pri. We're talking about the same vegetable. We're talking about vegetables we make Adama. There's something called a pri, and there's something called just HaRav. Right? That's the first Mishnah in Ketzim Avachim. Peiros Haaretz, you make Adama. HaRav, you make Adama. Same exact thing as far as we know in English. I don't know what the ArtScroll translation is. Fruit of the ground or vegetables. I'm sure that's the translation. But what's the difference? The difference is what the Rabbeinu Yain is saying. If it grows straight out of the ground, then we're going to tell you that that's going to be considered a HaRav. If it has a tree to it, a stem to it, then that's going to be considered not HaRav, that's going to be Peiros. Now, which means there's something called a pri, what looks like a pri. Not just Pasha Mitzias. What does this thing look like? Does this thing look like a tree or this thing looks like a pri? The reason why you don't make a Bayer Pri on this Kaira. Why? This is not a pri. This is not called a pri. This is called a vegetable. Why is it called a vegetable? It doesn't look like a pri. Something that looks like a pri has a din pri. Something that doesn't look like a pri does not have a din pri. Now, the Gemara said a svara of not the incha adaita dachi. Legumes? Okay. Legumes? What's that? Huh? Type of beans? Okay, fine.
Legumes are kidneys.
Oh, kidneys. Okay, fine. Now, so let's move along. The Gemara said a svara of not the inchi adaita dachi. What type of svara is this? Not the inchi adaita dachi. This is a very important svara throughout the whole Ketzim V'Achim, which we have to know about. One of the svaras, let's say Pashut, is that if you plant a tree for the tachlis of this pri, that makes you a Bayer Peiros in that pri. Anything else that's planted in this tree that comes out of the tree, that's not something that you make a Bayer Peiros, which means leaves of a tree. Why can you make a Bayer Peiros? It's coming out of the tree. You eat a leaf. What bracha do you make? You never ate a leaf? You come sometimes to salad, there are leaves. They don't normally come from trees. But a leaf. L-E-A-F. A leaf. What bracha do you make on it? It's coming off a tree. Should you make a by praise? Do you make a by praise? No, why not? It's the same exact as an apple. An apple's coming off a branch, a leaf is coming off a branch. What bracha do you make on it? Maybe shahakal, maybe adama, not haitz. That I know for sure. Why? Because the tree wasn't planted for that. Since that's not the matar of the tree, grape leaves, there's such a thing as grape leaves. People eat grape leaves. Yeah? What bracha do you make in it, Rabbi? Akapanim. I don't know people eat leaves, but if people eat leaves, you don't make hayt. Why? Because the tree wasn't the tachas of the tree. The tachas of the tree was for the fruit that coming out of it, not the leaf that came out of it. Therefore, you don't make a bayir priyates. That's clear. Now, if so, this kaira is not the incha that is very negated to today's times, is that orange juice. Orange juice, we make a shaka. Why don't you make a heights? It's not juice and not so pasha because we see Shem and Zayas make heights.
Orange juice?
Orange juice, yeah.
That's
Zayab alma. But if the tree was planted to make orange juice, and today they have many such trees, this is tzad to make heights. It's a different type of tree. But there are many trees today that are planted, more trees are planted for orange juice than oranges. What's the raya? Because oranges, you eat one, it's enough. Orange juice, to make it one container of orange juice, you need many oranges. So therefore, everyone today is drinking orange juice. So therefore, there are more orange trees planted for orange juice than oranges. Therefore, we'll get to it in Mitzvah Hashem, that some parts can hold, you make a shaka. You make eitz. Because that's what it's planted for. So the tachlis of the tree, what it's planted for. What about the orange pulp? Okay, we're not getting into orange juice now. It's going to be a shame of announcement. But I'm just coming to say is to understand this svara of not the inchi adai to the hachi means that what the person plants the tree for. Now there's a ganze svaras. Am I done the person? Am I done what people would plant it for? But that's not for right now. What we're just trying to take out this svara is that when there are planted trees for this tachlis, then that's what that's the bracha you're making. That's the chashivas bracha. So a tree can have many different outcomes as a branch, and from that comes apple, from that comes leaf, and let's say there are also other things. But the only thing you're going to make a eitz is only the apple. There are leaves that have the same. They're off a tree. They're coming off a tree, and it's not the tree itself. It's never going to be safe for the skashet, the hakshas. Why don't they make a eitz? The teretz is, since the tree wasn't planted for it, therefore you don't make a bayir eitz. That's a very important nakuda to realize that there's such a musik of something which is planted for it. So now, that's the svara of Sefer La'akshas. I'm sorry, of not the Inchadat Dachi. So let's talk about today's Hatzapam. Pashtus, we paskin like Shmuel. You make a shakel. So, finished. So you're all closed. You make a shakel, Hatzapam, very comfortable. The Gemara says, the Gemara doesn't always do this. Here the Gemara did it for us. We don't need any more Shulchan Aruch. The Gemara did it for us. Hilchasa kevasei de Shmuel. It's clear that the halach is like Shmuel, and you do not make a bracha adama, you make a shakel. Why? Hayil v'sayfei lahakshais, or not the inchadat dachi, whatever it is. So let's start. Should I make adama? No. Why should I make adama? You could say that maybe the reason why to make adama is because the whole tzvah that we said was because not the inchadat to the hachi, but today that people go ahead and do plant the trees for hearts of palm. What's my raya? Because if they wouldn't plant it for hearts of palm, what would be? There wouldn't be any trees left. Let's say it's more than that. Why are they going out and taking it off? If they're planting it for the next kufa, they would never cut it off. So therefore, if today we have hearts of palm in the store, a regular product in the store. Every store today you go into, a grocery store, a supermarket has hearts of palm. So that means that the tree was planted for that tachlis. So if the tree was planted for that tachlis, even Shmuel would agree that you make a bayir adama. Right? So again, The only reason why Shmuel said you make a shackle was only because Adaita the Hachinati. It wasn't planted for this. But if today I tell you that the trees are planted for Hatzapam, no problem. Make Adama. Even Shmuel agrees. We're not arguing with anything. So many tell me the Chachamim did research on this, and they said that today the Metzias is, today it was Mishtam the Metzias, Befrat, Bedarim, America. South America, they plant the tree, thousands of trees are planted for Kaira. Since thousands of trees are planted for Kaira, they bring it to all over the world. Miyat of trees are planted not for Kaira, therefore you should make it in a Bayer Pe Adama.
Find that the change in the Metzias changes halacha.
She's not Haga, not a halacha.
So Rabbi Gaddisman is asking a very good shayla here. Where do you see that all of a sudden the Gemara paskin for us? It's not like, the Shulchan Aruch and we say the times change. The Gemara paskin for us the halacha. The Gemara said, make a shahaka. Finished. What are you coming and saying about that South America? Don't give me no way. I don't care where you're coming from. The Maisa, the Gemara state to make a shahaka. What's the answer to the shayla? Pashat. Because the Gemara tells us why. The Gemara tells us because Leinati Adaita Da'achi. So now that you know the reason, and if you understand that the reason applies for today, which means that it's not the Adaita Da'achi, so then we're not changing the halacha. What we're saying is we're going with the halacha, but we're telling you that the halacha gave us a reason to it. It wasn't Gzeis HaKasav, right? So therefore, today it stims in the halacha. So therefore, by Kaira, I should go ahead and make a Hadama. And Moshe Steinbach in his Chuvas, in a more recent volume in Chelik Vav, in Chuvas V'Hanaga Siman Samach Eis Gimel, he says, Bizmanenu Yeshna Medina Shleimus, B'Darm America Shanoitim Atzedeka L'Tzarech Achilas Achele Karach. You're doing it for that. Therefore, you make a Hadama. Finished. I asked him, Moshe Matchikab, I don't know if you heard of him, he's from the Gedolei HaPaiskim in Eretz Yisrael, a big Talmud of Yashiv. He told me, you make a Hadama. Let's go a little bit weiter, and I thought that's what we were going to see in the beginning on the video, and I think someone was saying that here, that some of the messages coming in, was that today, the trees that are grown don't even give out tomorrow.
Hello.
Sorry? The trees that are grown today are not giving out tomorrow. The hearts of palm that they're using are not from Tama trees. So the only
Yeah.
So they cut them off early, that's all.
no, they're saying even without that, it's not coming from Tama trees. I spoke to the people that know these in Yonim, and they told me that there's certain trees that are Tama trees. These do not come. It's not from Tama. Yeah, that doesn't. What? I'm sorry. Someone's told me.
They never become a coconut tree.
No. So avada. That means the only reason why we're selling not to that to the achi is because there's another tachlis to it. It can become a coconut tree and you're stopping it early. Fine. But if this tree never is not a coconut tree, and Rabbi Black was saying in the beginning, there's 3,000, I don't know where you got that number from, but if from a magazine.
I went to gardening in California, those palm trees that had a sign there.
Okay. Ken Zain. So that this tree is hard upon of a chalal not grown for the tomorrow. They're not tomorrow trees. So therefore, you make a Adama because that's what this tree is. That's what it's not. So we're not going connected the Gemara. We're going with the Gemara. The Gemara, when he said, is only because we're not Te'adai. But if we're telling you today that it's not Te'adai, everyone would agree that that's a now. You could think and say, but the Gemara said another story, Sefer HaAkshas. So if the Gemara says Sefer HaAkshas, so we don't have that. That's why you make a shaka. So we could be stuck with that and say that you should make a shahakal because Sefer HaAkshas. So that we started earlier and we said that's a big machlekes if we stay with the svara of Sefer HaAkshas or we stay with the svara of not the Insha Daiti Dachi.
Or neither.
Or neither. And what do you want to do with that? So the Meiri and the Ben Hanan will say Sefer HaAkshas, and it's muchach from the Chuvas HaRashba, which we're not going to go through because it's a shver Chuvas HaRashba. You have to see that inside to really much on it. And oh, you saw it already. Okay, good. So over there, Pashas and Shuvas Rashba is mashma that it's staying with the svara of not the incha adai dachi, and therefore, if it's not the incha adai dachi, then you'll make a shakel. But if it's not the incha adai dachi, you would make adam. So that l'chayah is very glad, a very safe choice. That's a good shot. We're going to get to Aaron just a minute, Hashem. But we have one maramakim that we have to try to maybe answer because Star K, maybe Heinemann, they paskin that you make an eitz. On hearts of palm, you make a eitz. Now that's a problem for us. That's Star K. Star K says that you make a eitz. Now, where in the world does the eitz come from? The Gemara had a machlekes. What was the two tzadim? Adam or shakel. We're okay with trying to make the Gemara into Adama, even though, like if Shlomo asked, l'chayr you go and connect the Gemara. So we tried to answer that over here it's not the incha adai dachi. But where does the eitz come from? We explained a few minutes ago. We explained that why don't you make a eitz? We had this problem. Why don't you make a eitz? We said two svars. We said a svar from the Ra'ah. We said a svar from the Ramban. From the Ramban, we said a pashta svar because it's not growing out of a tree. It's growing part of the tree. From the Ra'ah, we said a svar because it doesn't have a shame pre on it. So let's try to understand this. What gives something, what's considered that it's growing out of a tree and what's considered that it's part of the tree? That means, how would you consider an apple that's growing out of the tree? Why is it growing out of the tree? Because it's hanging down? Why is something called growing out of the tree? Because it's what's with the bark of a tree? Is that growing out of the tree or what's that? When someone eats the bark, okay, let's say it's edible, right? Something that's going to fall off? That's going to be the cloud? No, let's say not. Let's say something can stay Mishana Lashana. It's not going to fall off. Or so you would say because it's hanging. That's a glatasvar. Because there's a tree, there's branches. Branches you still could be called still the same musik of the tree. And then there's something which hangs off of that. Okay, is that a good svar? Or that's safe or not? No? Is that a safe svar to say? Fine. Is this Hatzapam hanging off a tree? No. So then there's no tzad to say by parents. Now again, coming to answer Rabbi Heinemann. I'm not saying it's the right in halacha, but let's try to work as a Yid Talmid Chacham. Let's try to answer it that day. So what will be another svar? Another svar to say is that you're right, it looks like a tree, and you're right, it's not growing off the tree. It's growing part of the tree. But the fact that it's soft, that alone is different. Huh? Edible. The fact that it's edible, that alone, the tree itself is not edible. This part that's coming off the tree, it looks like the tree and it's going to be the tree right now. Is it edible? Yeah. So therefore, since it's edible, why shouldn't I be able to make a eitz? Why isn't that a fruit?
So
make a taste. What
would you make out of cinnamon? Cinnamon's not made out of the bark.
Cinnamons are made out of the bark. Okay.
What bracha you make on cinnamon?
You eat. How do you eat cinnamon? You eat the cinnamon itself? It's always as a tuffle. I mean, people eat that cinnamon. It's right achila. I don't know what it is. Cinnamon itself. Cinnamon? Kenzad? We'll get to that when we speak about sugar. Tyson Ahmed base. Normally is right, but you don't eat that thing. You eat that thing itself. I don't know. It's always a tuffle, as far as I know. But akapanim. Oh. Okay, one second. We'll get to Reb Black's question in a minute. So again, so we're saying now like this, that this hearts of palm, you're right that Api Muskal Rishon, it's not a tree because it's coming out of the tree. It looks like a tree and everything. But really, what's called a tree? We don't even understand exactly what's called a tree to know why it shouldn't be called a tree. So now we understood maybe something that hangs off the tree, maybe something that not part of the tree. But now we have a third side. Maybe something which is edible off a tree is already a tree. Something which is not edible, that's the tree itself. But something which is edible coming off the tree, that's a tree. If so, okay, you can make it by parents. because since this thing is coming off the tree, which is edible, so it's going to come to become a tree and all the tire that you want. But the mice have something edible, which is off the tree. Under it is not edible. That is edible. That alone is the difference. So therefore, there's a very stark etzat to say, good svar? Now it's stuck. This is too good a svar, no? Right? We can't say that for sure that an apple that's coming out of a tree and that's why you make a bayah p'retz. The fact that it's something coming up a tree, it's not out of the ground. It's definitely on a tree. The tree is considered a tree. L'chol mili, it's considered a tree. So this is something that's edible off the tree. So maybe make a bayah p'retz. And not only that, now we have a shver star K, and now we understand it so well, right? So then it comes out that where did the Gemara fall off? Why did the Gemara ever have such a tzad of bayah p'retz? That means we said very nice svaros now. So we came out that this is a pre. You know what? We have a Gemara written 2,000 years ago that said there's no such tzad as bayah p'retz. So how could we come up with a third tzad? The Gemara also had it as a shame pre. The Gemara also knew that you're eating it when it's soft, and still the Gemara said, that was the furthest the Gemara got, not a bayah p'retz. That's a big problem. So either we could say, okay, we just don't understand it, but it has to be that Rabbi Heinemann knew this Gemara. He knows this Gemara. He's coming what Kaira is. There's no such sound in the Gemara. So there's a Meiri that says that on Klipas Ashkedim, the peel of a nut, you make a bayah p'retz. Even though you were not the Aldasa Pri, not the Klipa, but since it's Roy Lecha, you should make a bracha on it. But that doesn't really help us here. Like we're saying, it's not, over here the Gemara tells us only bayah p'adam. You have to say that since the Ikem Torah was planted for that, in the Gemara there was never such a tzad. But once the Ikem Torah was planted for that, and it's the fruit, like we're saying, maybe that's called a fruit, therefore you make a bayah p'retz. We never said, when Shmuel said, when the machlekes was you make a bayah p'adam or a shahakel, those days the tree was never planted for it was planted for the tamarim or whatever it was. Now, what happens? Now we have a new case. This is not a Gemara. We have a case that trees are planted for this. This might be called a pre. So therefore, Dr. Heinemann, you make a bayah p'retz. Now it's a massive chiddush, but the end of the day is there's no Gemara saying fakir, and there's svar to say what he's saying. So you could hear very strongly that since there's no Gemara connected him, the Gemara says the only reason why the Gemara felt that the highest bracha you can make is bayah p'adam is only because it's like not the inchadai to the achi. Everyone knew that. But today, that it's not the inchadai to the achi, and there's a tzad to say this has a shem pri because it's edible, it's mamela, maybe you make a bayah p'retz. And that's what he paskin. Again, I didn't verify it with him.
I don't understand. It's not a pre of an eitz. It's different than Adama. Adama, even you could say it's a pre-Adama. Even a watermelon, you could say is pre-Adama. It comes from the ground. This is not a pre of the eitz. It is the eitz.
So that's what we're being mechalik. No, this is on the branch. That's what we're being mechalik. That a pre doesn't mean something which looks like whatever hanging off a tree. A pre means the edible part of the tree. The tatzah of the tree. Anything that's edible coming out of a tree, the tree is the eitz. Something coming out of that, we're going to call it pre. Yeah, something which I would never think without Rabbi Heinemann saying this. So that's the problem. So how are we calling it pre-eitz? Oh, okay. Okay, Rabbi Shlomo is saying it's the fruits of his labor. Fine, but that's a chiddush nifla to say. At the pasuk like that, lamaisa, that's even shver. So I agree to the island that what's halacha lamaisa we'll get to in a minute. But upon him, that is Rabbi Heinemann's shita. So interesting enough, we have the Gemara that pasuk shahaka. We decided, and I tell you, I spoke to Moshe Matkakap and other pasuk hadama. Rabbi Heinemann decided ha'etz. Again, I'm sure there's a Star K website, and they'll tell you what they say. So I have this from a few years ago. I don't know if it's still active. I'm sure he got many phone calls. How in the world do you pass hate? I don't know if it changed or not. But upon him, this is what I have by me. Now, What should you do lemaisa? I don't think that anyone in this room is starting to eat Hatzapam for. Maybe they are. I don't know. I don't know if it's a healthy thing.
That's smorgasbords all the time.
Just really Hatzapam. Okay.
Kids come over to ask you.
Really? Okay. So what you should do is make Adam. That's the halacha. Safe. Now, why is it safe? Because we know, even if it's a Bayar P8, if you make a Bayar P-Adam, he eats him. So we definitely have many poskim telling us that this is a Bayar P-Adam.
But the shackle is even safer.
So if Shlomo is asking, the L'chaya Shakal is even safer. Now, what's happening here? Oh, you have Starcade's website?
This is Frank, that's these guys.
Oh, no, oh, hey, it says AIDS. They end off AIDS.
Last line.
And Heinemann Shlita Paskin that the hearts should be considered the primary fruit of the peach palm, and the bracha of hearts of palm is PAs. Wow. Okay, they stay with that.
Mango is called a peach palm.
Okay. Now where's the thing? Shamati Mimay Rabbi Heinemann Shlita. Okay. Wow, that was pretty quick. Pretty sufficient. So Rabbi Heinemann Paskin's AIDS. Lani is daiti akaten. We're going to argue. And we're going to say it's too big of a chiddush to say AIDS. Too big. It's not mentioned anywhere you're going, but etzim, we're trying to answer that it's a pre. We're going with all these terutzim. Is one of the gedolei ha'paisim today in America. We lost Lida 2 days ago. We lost from the mamish.
The biggest place.
Yeah, Rabbi Shlomo is saying it's the biggest place. Rabbi Yashiv definitely held like that. Huh?
After the period.
After the Rabbi Yashiv was miyachas to mamish in a different league. His svarim, if you ever go through the Badei Shulchan, the earlier ones, the one on Basa B'chalav, it's mamish Rabbi Yashiv held. It's the Chavetz Chaim on Basa B'chalav. It's Mishabur on Basa B'chalav. And on Nida, he has svarim that Mabel al Arayin, what he put out. People didn't have that akar, what we lost. It's a different league what we lost. He was still here the last 5-6 years. People didn't see him around. He just sat and learned. And when he sat and learned, it was such a madrega that he sat like the Chazanish. Till he platz. No, like, okay, now it's time for lunch. The man I'm gonna eat lunch, scheduled. Many people are like that, but he sat and learned till nafshe yatzis. It was a mishmudik chashaviyid. He only wanted Torah. He gave up his rabbanos, ran away. 70. How old is he? He just left and finished. Evil not allowed in Torah. Different league of a Talmud Chacham. He was a Shiva once kufa. He was mamish, very chashaviyid. So, anyways, getting back to Rabbi Heinemann, that's not Rabbi Feivel Cohen, but the 11 is the 120. So we were trying to explain this psak, but for us, the Amoinam, we should make Adam. Now, if Shlomo is asking, you should make a shahakal. We said Adam over 8 because Adam, you're safer than 8. Why don't you make a shahakal? And the answer is because we're very clear, and that's what we explained throughout the shir. We're very positive to our psak that when I died to the hachi and finished. It's not, we don't have now another tzad. It's very clear. You speak to the farmers, you speak to what's going on. Hearts of palm is planted for that. So it's not a machlekes in the Gemara. We're not afraid to say that. The Gemara said kaya, the Gemara had machlekes. The machlekes in the Gemara was because there were two tzadim, because they're not the inch adai to the hachi. Today it's not the inch adai to the hachi, and that's what the Rebbe Shonim are going with. That's the svara, the Chubas HaRashba, and all that. And the Achreinim, the Achreinim are going to run the Taz according to Chubas HaRashba. So if that's the svara, so it's very mistaber to say that you should make a adama. It's not just that. That's the chayah pasha. So therefore, the paiskim are coming out that you should make a adama. I saw a sefer Minchasish. Minchasish is there was a yid called Rabbi Yudel Shapiro. He's not living anymore. He was the Talmud of Chazanish. He was the Rish Kail in Kail Chazanish. Kail Chazanish was the most chashuv the Kail in Bnei Brak, and he was the Rish Kail. But that means he was from the chashuv the Talmidim in Chazanish. Chaim Kanievsky was in that Kail, and he was from the most chashuv. He has a very chashuv anikel. Huh? Still a Kail. I'm saying he's not living anymore. He was together with Mr. Karelitz. So he has an anikel that wrote a beautiful sefer called Minchasish. I'm very close to him. I write him back and forth. So he writes in the sefer, he says if you said a Bayer Pei, it's a Yatza. He says even though in Shechanach it says Sha'akal, but since we planned for it, it's the mokum to say it's a Bayer Pei. Now he doesn't quote it, obviously. Now I'm not into that. I feel that if someone made a Bayer Pei, you should make again a Bayer Pei Adama. That's how Shaf I hold. The Maisa that a Bayer Pei Adama is the bracha. Finished. Shahakal, okay, so you made a shahakal like everything else, you yaitza. But
And the tomatoes make it work here, doesn't it?
yeah, I don't believe Lemaisa that if you make a by pits, I wrote this to him, I told him I argue with you strongly. Don't fall in that the by pits, be'etzim, it's a hadama and finished. And that's what most of the place can go with, and that's what should be made. So if your Yainukal comes and your wife bought this container of hearts of palm, hadama is the bracha. Again, we explained Rabbi Heinemann, we had a hard time explaining to him, but that's what we tried doing. But to say that that's the bracha, I strongly hold that you make a hadama. That is the gabi hearts of palm, and that's the maskana. What came into the sugya, in the middle of the sugya, is tznaim. What is tznaim?
Reitach.
Reitach. What's reitach in English? A radish. Radishes are red things, yeah? What's this? He's OU, what do they say? Hearts of palm, don't tell me to make it eitz. Oh, the bracha is not eitz, bracha Hashem. But rather hadama. This is because hearts of palm are not an actual fruit, but the core of the stem of the tree. Since they are part of the actual tree and not fruit, the bracha downgrade from eitz. Hadama, as mentioned previously. Thank you very much.
Belsky.
This is Belsky, right? So he's definitely about plukta on Rabbi Heinemann, and therefore, if anyone gets into this, the hadama is the bracha that we make, and that's a very thankful. I don't know if it's such a asadama anymore. But okay, we're not going to stone the guy that he made an eitz. You want to know if someone asks you what bracha to make, you live in Lakewood, there's no minig, the bracha is a hadama. This is a very nice ma'amokum. I didn't know Belsky passing like this. Okay, we have to add that in. One more, so getting to tznain, the radishes are
Right from the ground.
The Mishabura says in Siman Reish Gimel Sivkat Yadalid, he brings a chaya adam. Nishmas adam shemitzaded the b'tznain shalonu shumar lo ychashiva kol kach u'mevarach olav sha'akal. Chaya adam says radishes are sharp. Mishabura is calling this chaya adam, and he says you make a shakal, eat a part of the salad. I know many people that eat it without the salad. I myself eat it without a salad sometimes.
Reitach?
Reitach, yeah. No, I don't eat for carpets. I eat potatoes, but you never eat radishes plain.
My father used to eat radishes with soup and Friday night. That's it.
Oh, okay, that's
Part of the avodah of Friday night.
But
you take a knife and you start cutting your radish?
I want to put some right. Why not? I don't know. The vegetable, the red ones. Oh, 1 second.
Oh, not the ones not the myrrh for 1 second. No, not horseradish.
Not horseradish.
Oh,
no.
it's a different thing.
You're talking about horseradish?
Yeah.
Your father ate horseradish? Oh, I was talking about the red ones. Your father would eat the white ones? The round red ones. Black? Can we have some pictures of radishes? Is there such a thing as a black radish? It's getting later. Okay.
Park, go to work on the radishes.
No,
Okay.
so we have to know what this
We're
is.
talking about the red one.
One second, we don't know yet. We're still
yet.
stuck here. Mishmur said tznaim. Tznaim shalanu, he says, it's in Reish Gimel Sivkat Yadal. Then he brings the Shulchan Aruch HaRav that you make a bayar pe'adama. What is tznaim? Radish. That's what we touch. What is a radish? We're fighting over here with radish. We have 3 studim. We have 1 red ones. As far as you go into the store, you look in the radish, you're going to see that red one that I'm talking about. You're talking about a black one. I don't know what. Oh, here you go. What's going on here? That's called, those white ones are called radishes? How do you know that's radish? Oh, it says radish.
Yeah, the one on the right. You're talking about the Rav's talking about the one on the right.
Yeah,
correct?
the one on the right, the top, the
red
bottom,
one, the red one.
and the one on that plate over there is also red. That's what I call radish. That's all as far as I know.
They're not grain. They're white. They are black radish.
Oh, like you said.
Okay, he's giving me all shikatari.
No, he was saying that he has black radishes. So now, I want to know, is that true that the black ones taste sharper than the red ones?
Oh, there you had on the plate. They had the round ones, the round white ones.
Your father didn't
My
eat
father ate the red one.
the red ones. Okay, so that's what I eat.
Right.
Oh, one second. That's what we're going to get to.
That's the chayot.
Chai Adam says that you make a shahaka. Now, Moshe has a tshuva on this. You know, Chaim Chelik Aleph Tzimtzum Tzamach Beis. Alatstein b'mdina sein is okay, Moshe. Oh, black is sharper. Oh, here you go. Okay. Alatstein b'mdina sein is shehu aretach shehu mar ve'ein derech lecha b'loy pas. Shechidesh Chai Adam she'ein levarach el shahaka yesh lasses came.
Okay, so the Olam does.
V'av she'agras palagalev mishum shekapon himself v'davsel type yesh lecha b'loy pas. But the Ma'aser Dr. Moshe, I want to explain to you what type of reitach we're talking about. Dr. Moshe, we're talking about something which is ma the ein derech lecha b'loy pas. So I don't know black, red. And Moshe, that I think is the black. And therefore, if someone's going to be a Talmud Chacham and show you, you're going to eat reitach, the red ones, and he's going to tell you in Shuliks. Mr. Brewer says, you make a shakal, tell him, thank you very much. But that's different type of reitach. That's its nine, which is black. Since it's black, therefore, I agree over there, it's not normal to eat by itself. So that's where Moshe is very clear to tell you.
What you say to Chai Adam because it's not normal to eat.
Yeah, it's mar loy chashiva kol kach.
That
The
makes
red
it
one,
chocolate. What's the shot?
it loses shampoo. It doesn't. It's not something edible.
So
The same if you eat raw maror, you don't make adama.
that makes it Shmuel's halacha of this?
Yeah, I don't know exactly where it fits into, but like upon him, because people are planting it, so obviously. But you eat it maybe only with other food. You never eat it plain. But today's radishes, as far as I know, people do eat it plain. I eat it plain. The red ones. No, Rabbi Stern, you ask him? Some people have a carpus. So therefore, I think that Moshe is coming to say, explain to us. Don't think that the radishes are those radishes. The radishes are the black ones, that are white ones, whatever. Those are ma alei chashiva. Therefore, you make a shahaka. But without that, you make adama. Therefore, I still feel very strongly that you make now. There's a sefer called Yagal Yaakov that he asked of David Feinstein, which are Moshe Paskin that the bracha shahakal, I the kid shachanach Paskins, you should take its nine for kapas and you make a by padama. How could your father Paskin shahakal? See, answer
Again,
him.
Moshe was clearly on the black one only.
No, Ramesh didn't say it. Ramesh said when it's
I know,
ma'avachash.
but what do we think? Ramesh
We don't
meant?
know. Let's say it's still red one. 1 second. So that was the shayel to David Feinstein Zechet Tzadik the Kaddish
What
L'bracha.
father meant?
No, he didn't ask like that. He said, "I don't understand your father. Your father Paskin Shahakal. What's going on? And people, guys, half the clients are using that for kapas. Why are you letting him? Zok the shayel. Ula ain't kavan alaysim in nine. Maybe Ramesh was talking about a different nine.
Right, so we don't know.
Yeah. So Ve'eshav like bracha yishayna atznoin shahakal. Aval tznoin edaim noyagin lecha b'lipas u'b'chasay bere pe'adama v'lechein en kash mekit shachanah.
In other words, Moshe meant black.
Yeah. So we have Askama from David, his father. Therefore, red radishes are Adama, hearts of palm are Adama, and Agut is on the.
Everybody side,
What?
couple announcements. First of all, the Kippur coming there tomorrow at the 1:15. They want that minute right now?
I just want to tell you.
Second of all,
Rabbi Trapper, thank you for the artist last week. I got the email and I liked it very much. Don't think the reason why I didn't respond wasn't because I didn't like it. Okay.